taken care of. And that's something that can be, you can troubleshoot those things. But with that being said, there is a shortage, especially with going with an association like they have tried to do with the rec department here. There's a tremendous shortage across the state because there's so many spring sports taking place at the high school and middle school level. And a lot of those associations, because of what they're paid to cover those sports, will attend those sports first. And unfortunately, the recreational sports will suffer. And I'm sure that was the case there. But I'm sure as a board and as a rec department, we can come up with a better plan to address that, make sure none of us are sitting there with the egg on our face again. Nothing more embarrassing than being the coach, right, Coach Dawson, in that type of situation. So certainly there's some things that we'll do as a board and certainly as a rec department to try and address those type of issues, and we apologize.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, just to comment on that a little further, the association will send us out a weekly schedule of basically we make a master schedule and we send that to them. Then they modify it, and just next to the game on the master schedule, they'll tell you, they list the name of the officials, who's going to be there calling that game. And when we got back in the next morning, we referred to our master schedule to see if they had an official assigned to it, and they did. It was just, again, I don't know. All we got was apologies from the association. It won't happen again. It won't happen again. And then it did happen again. But that's as far as we could tell from the Parks and Recreation Department, they had it covered. I mean, we looked at our schedules. They've got officials assigned to the games.
That's why I asked if there was something set up in case it didn't. I grew up with Jesse and Reese, and it's going to happen again and again.
And my concern was, why didn't you know about this before? I mean, as a recreation department leader, you've got to be available.
Absolutely. And
that's bottom line.
And just that I may point out, the person in charge of recreation for Odom is Mr. Rick Chambliss. And he obviously is going to be there at his nightly games and stuff. And I didn't receive a phone call from him until after the fact, and it was like, hey, we didn't have an official again, or something like that. So and if I would have known that there was not an official coming, my first phone call would have been to Mr. Reese, that was the assigner for our area for South Georgia Fish Association, and let him know, and he would try to scramble somebody out there, or we would have tried to make some kind of adjustment, some kind of way, maybe take. I hate to do this, but maybe take an official that was, where you got in a situation where you got multiple officials on the field, you could just take one of them and run them over there real quick, but or ask them if they'd be willing to run over there real quick. Again, that's a terrible situation to be faced with, and we faced that before in the past. 4:45, you get a phone call, hey, I'm not going to be able to call the game, and you're scrambling around, calling people like crazy, trying to get somebody there last minute. So it's an ongoing issue. I mean, official associations' numbers are not growing by any means. I mean, it's one of those things that's it's hard to get people to do it, especially for how little it pays. So
I got two questions. The last meeting we was in, you said that the direct numbers they was up, and today you're saying they down.
I was referring to the overall participation numbers in Wayne County, and in your packet there's a copy of all the reports.
Also, I've been coaching in the rec department for over 20 years, and I won a championship out there at the high school one year, and I was at that midget game when the kids didn't get recognized, the second place team, the cheerleaders or the players, and I just want to know why they didn't get recognized.
In the parent information packet that we give out when every kid comes up and registers, it clearly states in there any league that has 3 teams or less. It states in there that no ribbons or awards of any nature will be given out.
Wow.
That was something that was in place when I got hired as the recreation director.
Did the coaches know that? Because, like I said, the last year they got recognized.
That is correct. Where we failed as staff is we didn't communicate that clearly with the coaches beforehand. on staff's part there. And that should have been taken care of, and it wasn't. And we've learned from that, and it won't ever happen again. But what we've done since then is we've totally just, I mean, because it's like Coach Randolph said, that, I mean, those medals are minimal, impact to the recreation's budget. So we have just basically said from here on out, we don't care if there's one team playing. We're just, you know what I mean? We're giving them a trophy, ribbon, and award. That's an easy fix.
And they were soccer medals?
There was that was a mess up on, I don't want to call any businesses out, but we get our medals and trophies through a local vendor, and that was something that, what it was is it was either a football medal with a soccer ribbon or a soccer medal with a football ribbon. I can't remember. And some part of it said soccer. And what we did is we ordered the ribbons. They overnighted them to us the next day, and we got those to the coach as quickly as possible. That was just a simple mistake made by the vendor that we used to supply us with our trophies, ribbons, and awards. So, but yeah, to answer your question, the miscommunication was a shortcoming there. Should have been more clearly communicated to the coaches involved in that game beforehand. But I mean, that's a simple fix. We just moving forward, we'll always give out trophies, ribbons, and awards to anything to do with any type of championship game.
So was the second place team in the draft provided, or what they?
I mean, some of the people from the team, some of the moms and the dads and the parents involved came forward and wanted to know, and we explained it to them. As far as the picture not being taken at the end of the game, we went over there and was taking pictures, and then we turned around and looked for them, and they were gone. There was nobody there. And a matter of fact, they had taken off all their equipment and just laid it over there by where the benches are, and then just left. And I mean, they didn't even stay around for equipment turn in, which I understand why they were upset about the situation that happened and stuff like that. So, but had they have been there, yes, we would have taken a picture and put it in the paper. So.
May I interject on that?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as staying there and taking the picture, we all were there. The kids were there and the parents were there because we stayed there to address him.
Till the sprinklers came on, actually.
He went and said, okay, get out of the way, the sprinklers are coming on. We all stayed there, waited to take pictures because those kids was trying. And we're about the kids, and if we're raising up a bunch of kids to become board members when they grow up, how could we crush their self-esteem when they get out there and work so hard and we do not even say, well job, good job? Whether you make first place, second place, or sixth place. Whether you have the proper amount of kids or coaches to make up the rec department for that season or not. We cannot destroy the children in that manner. Regardless if the parents act crazy or act out of character, the kids are who we're building.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I interject?
Yes, sir. Please stand and state your name, sir.
Caleb Dawson. I just got done reffing the championship soccer game that night. I went by the football field and started picking up equipment on the bleacher before the sprinklers came on. And then when the sprinklers came on, I happened to get somebody to help me start running equipment to the equipment van because the sprinklers were hitting them on the visitor side bench where they were left immediately after the game.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Mr. Davis, you'd like to move and continue?
The other thing I'd like to comment on was Coach Flores's suggestion, I think, about having the draft process changed. We've actually, and I was going to present that to the board at the next regularly scheduled meeting, but we actually have changed the team drafting process. It's a common process that is used by many different agencies in the district and I'm sure all over the state. It's a little complicated and we don't really, for the sake of time, I'm not going to try to explain it here, but I do have that typed up in a document and would love to present that to the board. It does make it into a lot. I'll put it to you this way. We did it this year for basketball and all of the coaches were pleased with it. It's a very fair draft selection process. It's just, 4 teams, you put Team A, Team B, Team C, Team D up on the board. And when the coaches come into the room, you just tell them, okay, what's the top 4 kids in the team? You don't care about coaches' kids or assistant coaches' kids or anything like that. You ask for the top 4 kids in the league, and then the next top 4 kids in the league, and the next top 4 kids in the league, until all the kids have been placed up on the board. And it's more of an open forum type draft process, and you allow the coaches to make any changes that they want to make. And again, you don't worry about where coaches' kids are and all that stuff. You allow them to say, no, this team's got too many pitchers, or this team's got too many bats, or, in basketball, this team's got all the height, and this team's got all the shooters, you know what I'm saying? Or this team's got all the quarterbacks or the running backs, and so forth and so on. And then once they feel like the teams are set as fair as they possibly could be, and we ask them very open forum style, just like this meeting, and we say, do you feel like any of the teams are at a strong advantage over the other one? And if they all agree, and then we ask them, we say, okay, now we're going to draw, and what we do, the next step is to draw it out of a hat. Draw the A, B, C, or D out of a hat, and whichever one you get is your team. And then you have to trade. If your kid is a number 3 on Team D, and you chose Team A, then you have to switch the number 3 spot on your team with that team. You get what I'm saying? To get your kid on your team. So it's just straight across the board. And as far as that goes, we've seen other agencies in the district do that, and they've reported back to us that they've never had closer championships, they've never had closer standings, the teams were as fair as they possibly could be. It's a lot faster once you get in there and get going with it. And I think that will help the process tremendously. It'll encourage coaches to tell kids to get to the evaluations so that we can have more kids out there, so coaches can make proper evaluations and know where to rank them at in the draft process. So it really, that process really heightens the importance of the evaluation process. So that's it for me, Mr. Chairman, on the citizens' concerns.
Okay, moving on to item H on your agenda, where we're talking about old business. It appears we were going to look at some recommendations from the board on championship sign placement.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the board at our first regularly scheduled meeting, one of the concerns by Mr. Bill Parker was brought forward about the placement of the championship signs. Obviously, it's been a hot topic in the community. Again, I'll just comment, the decision was made between myself and maintenance staff to put them on the outfield fences at the new complex. The thought process was to get them over there to the new complex where most of the action is taking place now. And we're just referring to the ones that apply to there, the ones that are from ages 9 through 12, boys and girls. And that's the majority of the signs. I think there's 47 of them total. And we just would like to get recommendations from the board on this. In Mr. Parker's absence today, I took the liberty of going and meeting with him and talking to him about this issue, since it was brought forth by him at the first meeting. And his recommendation was to, if you're looking at the Ben Park main entrance from the big parking lot in between Babe's Mighty Mites and Ben Park, to fashion them on some type of framing similar to what they were on in the front of the Bill Morris Park area, and do them right behind the sidewalk facing the parking lot. And then, you obviously you wouldn't, you cover up the entrance to the park, but on either side of that, just go down that sidewalk. And he was saying to save space, you could stack them on top of each other. And that's very similar to the way they used to be constructed. However, his thought process on it was, instead of doing them 3 tall, that's what it was in the past, there was three signs tall, just doing 2, so it doesn't get so much caught up in the wind, twisted, and things of that nature. So that was his recommendation, but at this time, we would like to take any other recommendations from the board on that.
Where are you talking about, where would the new post be? you talking about in the parking lot or on?
No, in the grass area in between the parking lot and the.
After you go down that hill, is there some grass?
No, I'm talking
Parking
about
lot side of the fence or the other side of the fence?
on the main parking lot in between, Babes and Ben Park. Like, picture if you're walking into the entrance of Ben Park, and then there's that grass area in between the parking lot and where the actual ball field fences start. And there's a pretty large gap there. So going down towards Hinton Mosley Road and then going back towards the batting cages on either side of the main entrance.
I just recommend that you make a decision and put them up. I mean, if it's Bill's problem, I mean, if Bill has somebody in his area that's concerned about it, I mean, because I personally don't care where they are.
Was there a problem where they were?
The main problem, again, as I stated in the first meeting, was because they were so high in the air, the wind would twist them. The frames that they were mounted on was starting to deteriorate, some of the older ones. And we just, again, there was not as much traffic at the old Bill Morris side during baseball season, and there's 47 of them that are, youth baseball and youth softball. So we were trying to get them over there where youth baseball and youth softball is being played at now. And we wanted the people to still be able to see those and be proud of them.
If you put them back like they were, I mean, the one with my name on it's been there 25 years. I don't think me or you would be around.
I agree that, I like the idea of having them at Ben Park. Maybe we table the issue and find out what, I don't know where people want them. I do think they want them. I've heard people saying they want it changed, but I don't know what the solution is.
If I may on that, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Parker said that the issue with, that was brought forward to him is they're so far away that you can't read the actual writing on them. And people wanted to be able to, like on the weekends when the park is closed and things of that nature, be able to just ride up there and maybe they got some family members or something in town and show them, hey, this was the team I played on back when we won state and yada, yada, yada. So,
The reason I say table is so that we can look at where, they need to be hung on the fence, they need to be hung on post again, they need to be hung 2 high, 3 high, 4 high, 10 high. I mean, I agree, it probably needs to be, if that many people are upset about it, it
Yeah.
probably needs to be changed, but, unless you feel comfortable.
I've got something we can look at on that issue. They were hung on 4x4s, at Bill Morris. We can also look at putting them on pipe, and that'll solve that issue. And then we can put them wherever people want them. And they won't, I see what you're talking about the post twisting and in the sun and all. We put them on pipe and that'll solve that issue. I know it costs a little more, but still. You can put more, like I say, you can put more than one sign on there and still.
absolutely. So do we want to just table it for now, or is that what the
I'd like to make a motion to table the issue.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Peel,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Williamson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, just, Mr. Chairman, if I may, moving on to number 2.
Yes, sir.
Wayne County Parks and Recreation fee schedule. If you just, in your packet, it should be the second staple document behind the agenda. This is, I put this together just for this meeting. This is just basically all of the fees that we charge and how much they are. We're not gonna sit here and read all of them, but it's just for the board to review. And,
I went through and I got just real quick, couple questions.
okay.
Is it possible, I'm glad that the trophy situation was brought up. Justin, is it possible I know that y'all try to stay around the 250 range with your sponsors. I mean, even when I sponsored it was that, been that for a while. If it costs an extra $50, can we get a trophy for every kid on that team? Because I did have a business that sponsors for you that said, I don't care if I pay $400, I want the team I coach to get a trophy. I mean, the team I sponsor to get a trophy.
Now, are you referring to,
I'm talking about in any sport. It don't matter what sport. If say right here you say football's $300. If it costs if it costs $50 to $100 for trophies for, 20 kids, I don't know how many of you put on the team, then can we figure that into the, I think every kid needs to get a trophy, that's just my personal opinion.
And are you referring to all the leagues, competitive and non-competitive, or are you just referring to the instructional leagues?
What do you mean non-competitive?
Well,
I
like
ain't never been on the field, I don't really want competitive.
T-ball, the leagues that we do not keep score in.
Yeah, those definitely. I would say them more than any of the, more than the junior boys. You follow what I'm saying? But
Because currently, we do not provide trophies for those leagues.
right. I just know that because my daughter played.
Right.
And
Most of the time, the coaches will take up a small collection or just out of their own pocket get some sort of medal or ribbon or award or trophy of some sort and issue it to the kids. Our community is great about that. I remember as a kid when I played Babes Mighty Mites, everybody got a trophy.
yeah, we did right.
But when, that was not something that was in place when I, became the director here. But I would have to say I agree with you. I think that it should be issued, especially especially in the leagues that we don't keep score in. I think that they should be issued to everyone. Now, that's a hot topic, not just in Wayne County, but in several places about should all kids be given awards, even in competitive leagues. So, I would just ask the board to maybe possibly look at, further consideration on that, possibly tabling that and just want to think about it and mull that over because that is, as you coaches know up here on the board, that's, a lot of people don't believe in that. That's more or less coaching philosophy and stuff like that. Should everybody get a trophy? Are we going to start giving out participation awards and stuff like that? That's the topic of discussion. So, but the one thing I did want to point out, if I may, on the team sponsorship fees, is we do not currently accept sponsorship money for youth football. I think this is something that the board should definitely consider changing because it causes some unforeseen issues. Now, when I first got here, staff at the time, it baffled me that we didn't go out and get sponsorships for the youth football teams, and that it was just the volunteer coach's responsibility. And I was basically told, hey, don't mess with that. You don't want to dig into that. It's working. It's been working like that for a number of years. Yada yada yada. So, but it does cause some issues. I've had coaches come to me and say that businesses around town don't want to write a check to them personally for $300-400 for a set of uniforms. They need something on letterhead from the rec department stating that the money is going to be used to purchase. You know what I mean? So it causes issues with that. It would just be a cleaner process if it was handled by the Parks and Recreation Department.
I think you had an issue this year where parents had to buy their kids, didn't you?
Yeah, there was some, because the coaches are starting to, some of the coaches they're not as plugged in with the business owners in the community as others. And it's a struggle for them to just be able to walk into a place and ask for $400 for a set of uniforms or however much the total with it, comes up to. But, and I just threw that number out there, $300. Obviously, it's going to be subsidized by the budget. But, that's something that's up for debate as well. So, but if the board doesn't have any other questions or concerns with the fee schedule, we're looking for the board to make any recommendations for the 2016 fee schedule. We wouldn't want to change anything this year due to, programs and activities and rentals and everything else already been in place. But this would be something that I would be looking, the Parks and Recreation Department would be looking for the board to make recommendations on for 2016. But if you guys have any recommendations on that, we would accept those at this time.
I think it's a great idea to charge with football to seek sponsorship for it. I had a kid coming through the program that played football. I can remember us as parents, up with Mr. Dillinger and trying to purchase some uniforms and seek sponsorship. I know it's very taxing. He didn't have a problem with it, but I can imagine several coaches do. I think that's a great idea.
I paid out of my pocket.
And it is the, 21st century.
Yeah.
Not a reason all for us not to make a change there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But now, would that determine the name of the team?
The business name would, but I see what you're saying. It wouldn't be as fun because you wouldn't be able to be the Seminoles, Gators, Falcons, Bulldogs. I understand. What I think we can still be we can put it on the back, where the kids normally like to, go up there and
No, you can do the
patches to
You can
do
do
patches.
the Falcons and still have a patch.
Oh, I mean, I totally understand that, but would all the jerseys be black and gold?
Oh, no, not
So we
necessarily.
can still get our own, we can still get our own color.
Sure you
Okay,
can.
I can see
That would be between you and the business that sponsors you.
I got you.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah, essentially, I think that it should be left up to the business owner, because just like it is with baseball, they get their business, that is the name of the team. And so with football, football's a little different animal. Everybody wants to be the Bulldogs, everybody wants to be the Seminoles, everybody wants to be the Gators, the Falcons, whatever. So, with football, it's a little bit different. I think the businesses would actually have fun with that and let them choose their favorite collegiate or NFL team, or if they want to be the Yellow Jackets or whatever, I think that should be left up to them, their prerogative, since they are the ones putting up the money to buy the uniforms. Any other discussion on that? I did also want to point out, I included in your packets, there's a document that was put together by Glenn County Recreation and Parks Department. This is wonderful information that has never been available since I've been here in the 3.5 years I've been here. But this outlines the registration fees that every department in our district, every agency in our district charges for their sports and their programs. And I just wanted to issue this to the board, and this is very valuable information. It kind of lets you know where we stand in the district as far as what other people are charging and what we charge, and it will better help you guys in the future make recommendations to the fee schedule. In my opinion, I think we're towards the bottom on what we charge. I mean, there's a lot of other departments that do charge the same amount that we do, but there's quite a few in here that charge a good bit more than we do as well. So just wanted to point this out to the board, let you guys just kind of have that information. That's pretty valuable information. If there's no further questions or discussion on that, I'll move on to number 3.
Please do.
Participation reports. This has been another topic of discussion in our meeting so far. I've got the the whole entire 2012 report, the whole entire 2013 report, and the whole entire 2014 report. As you can see, it gives the breakdown for each age group. It tells you exactly how many kids were enrolled for each individual age group, and it gives you a grand total at the end. The way that grand total reads on here is like if you're looking at the 2012 one, if you flip to the last page, and you see it's 1 comma, and then on beneath that 789, so that would be 1,789 total. So just to point that out. And then it's the same thing on the 2013 reports. And then the same thing again on the 2014 report. So just wanted to present that to the board. That was also presented to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns with that, as far as the board is concerned, I'll address those at this time.
No question.
I don't have any.
Okay, moving on to item 4, spring season schedule. I've included in your packet 2 documents that we give out to the parents when they sign up for t-ball, baseball, softball, and track. And we have yet to have our adult softball meeting, which is coming up. If I'm not mistaken, it's on February the 19th at 6 o'clock. And this is what we give out to everyone. As you can see, just wanted to highlight on the staple document, the one that reads at the top, 2015 WCRD T-ball, baseball, softball information. This is given out to every parent that signs up. We also have it on our website for people that register online. Right there in the middle, underlined and in bold, important dates. Season will start on Monday, April the 13th, and then games will be played on, we'll have a Saturday of games on April 18th. The reason for this is because Easter is the first weekend in April, and then the following weekend, as you know, Mr. Chairman, is the spring break for Wayne County Board of Education. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start, and just by playing our older age groups on that Monday, April the 13th, and then that whole week, and then we won't start T-ball up until Saturday, April the 18th. And then we'll also be playing the older age groups on Monday, on Saturday, April 18th as well. So that little different start than what we normally have. We're not able to kick it all off on a Saturday like we normally do. Just wanted to kind of point that out to the board. We are been having some meetings with, as far as track goes, we've been having some meetings with Liberty County Recreation Department. We kind of do our program in conjunction with theirs. They have a very, robust track and field program. We're fortunate enough to be able to go over there and participate in some of their regular meets and get our kids ready and prepared for district and state. So you can see right there on number 4 on the track and field program information, meets will be conducted on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting on March 10th and ending on March 26th. In conjunction with Liberty County Recreation Department at the track in Hinesville. So it's a total of about approximately 4 meets. We also get them involved in some other meets around the district that some of the other agencies put together. So, and we're looking forward to another successful track and field season. So I just that was another thing that was brought forward, by I think a citizen concern about the start dates and why we start at certain times. And again,